Hello, welcome back to Squashwarp. I'm Luke, and this is episode 12. And so, it being episode 12, I think let's have a little check-in of what's going on. Well, one thing is, we've got the Pegasus 2 that we're going to try to launch to Jool. That's the next thing we're going to do. After that, we've got a couple of Griffin Mark 1B capsules to go to the space stations. So, we've got a space station in Kerbin orbit and a sort of a space station in Minmus orbit. The Minmus one is not crewed right now. And the one that is in orbit of Kerbin has crew that has been in space for a while. So we want to trade them out. We've done a bunch of science research and gotten ourselves as close as we can to unlocking the gravity detector. I'm waiting on 550 science before we can unlock that. And we have a little break in our transfer window, so we can finally calm down and focus on the local infrastructure for a bit. So we're going to focus on this Jool mission, and then we're going to focus on our Kerbals for a while. Okay, this rocket is very tall, I'm realizing. Hopefully the staging works correctly. This is Pegasus 2 launching to Jool. Go. There's a storm over that way. And a beautiful day everywhere else. Oh, storm that way too. Oh, it's the same storm. Oh, never mind. Pretty. Booster separation. And once again, we've got a Paladin first stage here that we're going to try to recover. But the first priority is the probe, because the probe is very expensive and we only get one shot on going to Jool. For a while, anyway. Can I time accelerate safely? So far, so good. I'm worried that time accelerating changes my orbital direction a bit too much, though. Let's hold this attitude. I feel like our apoapse is not going up fast enough. Oh yeah, never mind. We're not trying to recover this first stage. That's not true. Yeah, we're just throwing that away. This is a large lift vehicle. Uh-oh. Apoapse. Time to apoapse is going down significantly. Gonna lose some fuel this way. Our Delta V won't be quite what I thought it was, what I designed it for, since we're burning off of our trajectory. Okay, but at least our time to apoapse is increasing again. So far, so good. Okay, we got through the difficult part. I think we've got the right thrust-to-weight ratio now. Deploy altitude. Let's put that at 70, because we don't want those to deploy yet. We're going to spend a lot of time in the atmosphere. We've gotten leaned over a little too far, a little too fast. But that's okay. We're going to try to get to 100 kilometers. 99. Do 102. There we go. All right. Orbit prograde. Let's get out of the atmosphere. I've just put as much delta V on this thing as I can. But otherwise it's the same craft that we sent to Sarnus. That's why it's Pegasus 2. Because both Sarnus and Jool have a moon we want to land on and a atmosphere that we want to explore. Okay, here we go. Deploy. No music, please. Thank you. Solar panels. Okay. Solar panels are deployed. We'll add a quick maneuver. Just circularize. Right about... Come on, there. Oh, Kerbin, beautiful as always. It's going to take us a minute to get pointed this way. Time accelerate. Okay. And then we freeze time to make the craft not move anymore. It's kind of cheating, but it just saves a little bit of effort. Okay. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. Okay. Let's roll so that when we do get sunlight again, it'll actually hit our panels. $99 by 100. Good. Save that. Now I'm going to make a maneuver to go out to Jool. I'll catch up with you in a second. Okay, well that was actually pretty easy. Jool has a big sphere of influence, so just typing in the parameters from Transfer Window Planner actually got us an encounter straight away, and I adjusted it a little bit more. We're going to have to do a course correction as always. But that's fine. All right. Kind of a long burn. I'll have to come up with something to say. 2, 1, 2, 1. Point at the marker. Thank you. There we go. All right. We're going to switch over to the second stage in just a moment. Sorry this is in the dark, but you got to launch in the dark when you are... you got to depart in the dark when you're going to outer planets. That's just how it works. Unless you have a retrograde orbit, I guess, but who does that? Who has retrograde orbits? Not at my space program. Not yet, anyway. Alright, now let's speed up. Okay, we're definitely leaving Kerbin's sphere of influence. Now, one thing I have to do, I must upgrade the tracking station further before my outer planet probes reach their destinations. Because I planned these antenna to work when we've upgraded the tracking station to its final level. Let's turn prograde. There we go. This is Jool. Isn't Jool pretty? I think Jool is gorgeous. Here comes our orbit. Okay, perfect. I will want to make a course correction to change our inclinations, because that's a lot of inclination to come in with. Okay. Add a maneuver there, just as a guess. How much do I have to burn to fix my inclination? Ooh, so little. So little. Let's set lathe as the target. And then I want to adjust so that our inclination with the lathe is as little as possible. I messed that up. Now that's pretty good, and then we're going to need to do something about the fact that we're colliding with Jool. Periaps 350, and Jool supposedly has a 200-kilometer atmosphere. So that should be safe. That looks like a good maneuver to me. We'll save that. We'll make a alarm for that maneuver, which is in 414 days. It's almost a year away. And then we'll add for Sphere of Influence change, just so that I don't time warp through that. Let's go. All right. Next thing. And early one morning, the crew of the next Griffin launch is assembled on the pad. We've got Jebediah, Gwendis, and Hahudami Kerman. And they're going to the space station and eventually to Minmus. But first we gotta line up our... oh, wow, the moon is getting sunlight on it. Or getting the dawn lighting effect on it. That's really cool. It's actually yellow as it sets. That's amazing. These mods are amazing. Just gotta take a moment to appreciate these visual mods. My goodness. Alright. Set Manticore as target. And I'm gonna try to launch right to it this time. But we'll see about my success. It's just a ballpark. And now it's morning, so we're ready to go. Launch. This is all launching on a single mainsail engine, and this is the Paladin lifter, so we are going to try to recover the first stage. Oh, so pretty. So I'm letting it have a steep ascent to see if that helps with recovering the first stage. To get our apoaps, our time to apoaps pretty high. But we'll find out if that's right. This is too steep though, this is silly. Okay, it's going to be well ahead of us. This was a terrible launch, but luckily we have plenty of Delta V, so it's going to be fine. Let's just go ahead and go. I was kind of managing too many things at once. Let's just make sure that our periaps is out of the atmosphere. And we can do a little better. Oh, no, we can't. I was going to say we can get a rendezvous, but not without leaving our periaps in the atmosphere. So let's get it to 70. Let's move this stage over here. Move this stage over here. There we go. And burning in 1 minute. Just pretend this launch was, I don't know, an experiment in how to do things wrong. Okay. I did the sticky keys thing again. Okay. Time warp until we actually perform our maneuver here. Alright. Getting close. Okay, good enough. And switch to the probe one for recovery. And again, we might burn up because we're coming in a very silly angle. We've got to do a better launch trajectory in order to expect to recover these things. Okay. Now if we could just... we survived re-entry. Now if we could just slow down enough. There we go. Drogue chute's coming in handy there. Chutes are getting all tangled, but that's alright. Okay, this is going to take a minute. I'll meet you on the ground, or in the water as it is. Gently fall over. Gently. Good. Alright, meanwhile, back at the spacecraft, we've got to do an orbital rendezvous. And, you know, I've been skipping these in the video because when you've seen some, they all kind of start to look the same, I think. Alright, now we're arriving at the space station. Unfortunately, we're in the dark, but we'll be able to come around to the sunlight in a minute. And we're closing kind of fast. Why do they not have my drills? I very specifically put drills in this thing. I might save file edit some drills in. Because I did the work. I put them in. It might be an interaction with the mods that I have. Because this craft is supposed to have drills. Inventory, inventory, inventory. Okay, none of them have any drills. Well, shoot. This craft was supposed to have drills brought up in their inventory, but it does not. So we can't perform the modification that we wanted to perform. That doesn't mean we can't do the mission that we wanted to do. Let's get into the sunlight. That will be a happier situation. There we go. All right, quick save. What I wanted to do when I thought we were going to have drills was to use the Kerbal Inventory System hand screwdriver thing. I guess it's a screwdriver, but whatever. to disassemble the broken ship over there, the one that was attached all wrong, and then reassemble it in such a way as to be able to send it home. Because I'd like to clean up the space trash. But as it is, we might still be able to perform that mission. We just can't do it with the Kerbal inventory system, because it seems that the seat inventory mechanic, where you put a certain tool in the seat of the capsule, might not be working with the way that we load our crew through Kerbal Construction Time. Either that, or I'm just doing it wrong in some way I don't understand. Which is always a possibility. It's always a distinct possibility. But anyway, we're coming into dock, but we're docking in the aft on the probe body here. The tug device. Because we need to dock somewhere, and all the other docking ports are in use. Why did that not work? There we go. So we can't get into the space station yet, unfortunately. Okay. F5. So it's getting to be a busy space station, isn't it? We can just EVA. I mean, the truth is, I can just transfer, like if I transfer, like, it'll let me. But in my head, like, you can't go this way. I want to be able to use these docking ports, so we're going to do something about this. Okay, I've undocked one and then the other, and it caused them to bump into each other. So they're now going to drift away, which I'm going to consider good enough, because we can't control it, right? Because this has the probe core, and this has the fuel. So between the two of them, we can't do anything. Hang on, was there monopropellant on that thing? We'll never know, because we can't switch to it because it has no control. Okay. Well, I'm going to assume there wasn't. It's fine. It's fine. It's just going to be space trash. I'm going to move this craft, but I'm not going to make you watch that. We're going to bump into this. Bump. Get out of here, space junk. And we did it. We did a supply run to dry a transfer vehicle. Freeze-dried bacon. Okay. We did a thing. I also thought that we did a contract to bring power to the space station. I either did it or the contract's gone. Either way, it's fine. So, this is the new crew. Let's try to keep track of this. So this one is the one that's not opposite the spacecraft is the one that's going. I can't tell the difference between these two ships. It's fine. You all are going to Minmus. That's the point. That's the point of this. So Jebediah Kerman, please transfer into the control room. And Gwendis into there. And Hudme into here. Say hello to your friends. You're going to say hello to your friends as you pass through the airlock. Let's make sure there's no... Oh, we can level up the crew. Cool. Let's make sure there's no science in either of these containers. Nope. Okay, cool. Make sure that these are completely full. Transfer out. Good. And we'll transfer the mulch in just to make the vessel lighter. Time accelerate through that. And how's our monopropellant? Full. Undock. Oh, we got to switch. No, switch. Before we hit the solar panels. Gotta consider retracting the solar panels before I do things like that. Speaking of solar panels, we can fold those out, and we can extend the radiator now that we're pulling away from the space station. Okay, Jebediah, Gwendis, and Hudamy are now departed from the space station. So they have supplies for 168 days. And they need to be home in 224. Let's transfer to Minmus. First, let's turn prograde, and let's make sure that we're not going to run into the space station by giving ourselves a little bit of thrust in that direction. We can just use monopropellant. That's fine. Just make sure that we change our orbit enough that we're not going to pass back into the space station before we get a chance to... wait, my liquid fuel isn't full. Wait, come back. Come back. Jack, come back. You know what? It's fine. We've got 2,200 meters per second. I think we're going to be fine. I meant to fill this up, but according to my Delta V calculation up there, we have more than enough to do this whole transfer. So, should be okay. And if not, I'll be eating my words. Let's drop a quick save. Number 50. Yeesh, I need to organize my quick saves. All right, we're going to Minmus. When that means I'm going to see you in a second when we actually do the burn so that you don't have to watch me plan a maneuver. Alright, this is me doing the maneuver. I forgot to say anything before I just started, but here we are, burning out to Minmus. We're going to have to do a correction burn halfway there. We are bringing 2 scientists. We just blasted past our space station. That was dangerous. We're bringing 2 scientists so that we can keep working in the laboratory there. Because we were getting good science from our lab experiments out at Minmus. And we got to keep that up. Alright. Maneuver planning. Kerbin is so pretty down there. We're going to warp to our correction burn. And, whoops. Stay under control. We're going to warp to our correction burn. And that we can all do together. Faster! We gotta start thinking about putting bases on the moon in Minmus, or at least mining resources from them, because before we know it, it's going to be time for a crewed Duna mission, and we're going to have a lot of technology proof of concepts that we'll wish we had done at the moon in Minmus before it's time for us to figure it out for Duna. Fine, good enough. We'll fix it. Okay, looks like before we reach Minmus, there's going to be an evening probe correction burn. But before even that, our new aircraft is going to be ready to fly. So let's make sure we're getting solar panel coverage. And we can delete that maneuver and just point prograde, actually. There we go. Good solar panel coverage. And, yeah, we get to go fly a plane. Here we go. Well, since Jeb and Valentina are at, in space right now, we have, Staffel Kerman, who is going to perform this, aircraft mission. So, we have a new science experiment. It's this large thing on top of the spacecraft. It is the atmospheric fluid spectrovariometer. What does this say? Run atmosphere analysis? Yeah, no, we'll do that in a minute. Z, T, and once again, I'm going to skip through a lot of this. Look at the light of the sun reflecting off the runway. Whoops, wrong button. I want to be in chase. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah, right, we have new jet sounds. Courtesy of the, Rocket Sound Enhancement mod. Now, I don't know if the flaps really do anything, but we're going to engage them anyway. Alright, we're just going to immediately come in for a landing again. Because we got to get to the shores anyway. Let's put on the brakes, we're just coasting. Apparently we don't have material study from Kerbin Shores? Okay, well that's silly. Let's get that. Close the doors. EVA. Download data. Take data. Board. And then we can run another atmosphere analysis. A crab decides to wedge itself firmly inside the atmosphere sensor's housing. You end up having to reset the experiment. Okay. Let's take a surface sample, because apparently we can do that, and download the data again. Alright. Next. I don't really think the flaps are doing much. Other than making it kind of difficult to take off. Don't tell me I'm too low. We're perfectly safe, Mr. Kerbal computer voice. Right, we're gonna land in the grasslands. We need to actually get on the ground before we get to the trees. There we go. Let's maybe wait until we stop before you get out, Staffel. Alright, and we do the science dance. Download. Run. Oh, can only be controlled externally by a scientist? Okay. Atmosphere. Keep. EVA. Download. I don't like this disassemble part option. Board. What did it say, by the way? Temperature and pressure readings suggest today is as good a time for flying as any. Atmospheric conditions look good for takeoff. Punch it. Sand gets sucked into your instrument and you are unable to get an accurate reading. Oh well, snack time. Okay, that one we already had. That one we already had. Looks like dirt. The atmosphere seems calm and peaceful here. Readings are normal. Alright, we're gonna have to rotate. Z. Brakes. We gotta get facing the other way. Okay, this'll work. And we're over the highlands. The atmospheric sensor reports higher than average humidity. This is supported by the thick fog and the light sheen of wet grass. Keep experiment. Let's come in for a landing again. I should quick save one of these times, because one of these days I'm gonna do this landing wrong, and I'm gonna wish I had a quick save. Don't jinx it, Luke. seismic scan. With such a massive mountain below your feet, you have little hope of the seismometer registering a reading, so you absentmindedly munch on some snacks to pass the time. Okay, we got science. Alright, we're over the mountains. The atmospheric analysis reads refreshing in the cool mountain air. You couldn't agree more. Are we going to make it over this hill? Just barely. Whee! Oh, look at the clouds underneath us as we go over the mountains. That is epic. That's so cool. Alright, deserts. What is that? Lab module probe. Let's go find out. Did something survive of one of our rockets out here? Well, we'll have to come in for a very careful landing if we're going to investigate. But I can also just... We've now told the Space Center about it. We'll investigate via the tracking station, and we'll carry on with our mission. Staff will carry on with your mission. Alright, we got our atmosphere analysis over the desert. Now we're going to go try to land. Lots of cactuses down there. I'm trying to look for a flatter spot to land, and I think maybe just on the other side of this lake here. It's not the best landing site. Untarget that. Well, we're coming in a little hot. Okay. Here. We're landing here. Said we're landing here. Land here. Whoop. That was a bit hard. Okay. Whew. Good job, Staffel. Alright, and just like last time, we should be able to get different set of science from Splashdown at the deserts. So I'm just gonna roll my way over towards this lake. This is not the most efficient lake. The same amount of time spent doing this would get us like 200 science from Minmus, but every once in a while I need a sanity break from spacecraft and I want to fly an airplane. Or in this case, you know, go into a lake with an airplane. Okay, we've learned something. The atmosphere analysis cannot be done while splashed down. So, that's helpful to know. Let's throttle up. But with the thrust limiter down on our left engine to induce a bit of rotation. And then we'll undo that asymmetry and just get a bit of thrust. Yep. Just to get us out of the water. Good. And the plane is no worse for wear. So since we can't actually do splashdown science, I think we've done all the biomes. Let's recover... Well, no, we're going to recover to the... I don't know whether it matters, but I'm going to fly back to the Space Center. Just in case that gets us more of our recovery. I love the effect that it's making on the water out there. That was really cool. I'm finally using this Waypoint Manager mod to show us where the KSC is. Flying over the mountains again, and over the clouds. We've reached an airspeed of Mach 0.94. So, we cannot go supersonic in this craft, at least we could try doing it in a dive. We'll try that as we get closer to the Space Center. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's let the craft naturally nose down. And we'll see if we can go for a speed record. 0.98, 0.99, Mach 1. We're passing Mach 1 in a dive. Now, if I had turned on the The audio. Oh, we can do that real quick, actually. How do I do that? Mock effects. Save. We need to pull up. I thought we turned on your simple advanced settings. Mock effects on. Save. I don't know. It's fine. We're going pretty fast. That's the point. Alright, let's change my settings back to the way that they were. And kill our velocity. I think we need to do a loop. There we go. Now our velocity might be too low, but let's descend and see what we can make of it. It's gotten foggy. Alright, I can see the Space Center now. You can turn off navigation. Brakes on. Flaps on. Gear down. And Staffel is... Well, Staffel's flying it from IVA, but I'm not going to try to fly from IVA with Staffel the way that I did with Jebediah. Are we going to make it to the runway? Not quite. Almost there. Very low landing speed. Look at that. Look how fast we stopped. Well, we almost undershot. Anyway, let's recover. It wasn't a waste. 70 science earned from that. Alright, the evening probe has a maneuver to do soon, so let's go do that. Alright, we're out at the evening probe in deep space. Between... where are we? Have we passed the orbit... The orbit of Ove? Have we passed the orbit of Eve? Yes. We're in the process of... We're actually passing pretty close to Eve. There's Eve. Here's us. But we're heading to Moho. So, let's make sure that this maneuver is... No, wait a minute. We're going to Eve. Right, this is the evening probe. What am I saying? I'm so used to going to Moho, I forgot we actually get to go to Eve. No wonder we're close to Eve. I'm losing my mind. Alright. Let's perform this maneuver before I fall asleep. We don't need to add an alarm. The alarm is already there. I'm going to do this maneuver now. Okay, we've made it to the maneuver. I'm going to perform it a little gingerly. Instead of doing a 2-second burn, I'm going to use less throttle and do a longer burn. Alright, let's turn prograde and see if that helps us. Nope. Let's turn retrograde and see if that helps us with much less thrust. We want a polar orbit about 90 degrees. The tiniest bit of thrust. Isn't Eve pretty too? Okay, that's pretty good. Now let's point normal and lower the periaps to low, but not lower than 100 kilometers. Because that is the atmosphere. taking this slow and gently. Just like Venus, you can't see anything but beneath the clouds. 2, 1, 0. 106 kilometers. That might be too close, but we'll find out. That's so close to 90 degrees. Let me see if I can make it even better. Okay. I can't visually tell if that's perfect, but that's pretty close. Okay. Let's set a maneuver. Let's set an alarm. Wait, why is it giving me a maneuver? Let's stress limit back up. Set an alarm. We don't have a maneuver. For our sphere of influence change, we're going to arrive at Eve in 69 days and 4 hours. Okay, next is the Minmus station, the Dryad transfer vehicle. Let's go to our maneuver for... Wait, is it a maneuver? It says it's a maneuver, but I don't seem to have a maneuver planned. So, wonder what's going on there. Let's focus on Minmus and see what's happening. Oh, let's just warp here. That'll be good enough. Oh, Minmus looks funky when you time warp. I tried to close an alarm and I instead switched to this vehicle. So, while we're here, let's see if this thing finished its scan of Minmus. Minmus, this is Minmus. Okay, map type. Biome is not done. Visual is done. Okay, so that means that we can stop visual scan, analyze the data, transmit the science. Do we not have require complete turned off on this thing? I need to be watching the other space station, by the way. Like, this isn't what we're here to do. Analyze data visual. Let's, allow partial. Allow partial. Transmit. Okay, it's done. That's fine. Okay, cool. Is this one running? Multispectral is still running. What's the ideal altitude? It's 300 kilometers. No wonder it's not working. We're at 70 kilometers. Well, let's turn prograde and go out to 300 kilometers. There. And let's add an alarm for apoapse. Cool, that's in 2 hours. That's good, that's fine, but I really need to be looking at this right now. Switch to that. Where's Minmus? I need to look at it. There, it's right in the sun there. Okay. Yeah, it's behind the sun. Or it's in front of the sun, and that's why we can't see it. Okay, so we want to turn basically normal. We're just spending monopropellant to get into the right position. I'm going to be cutting out a lot of this stuff, so sorry if it's jumping around, but it's just orbital maneuvers and you've seen them before. Alright, now we've set it up so that our periapse around Minmus is also our ascending node and also our closest approach to the laboratory. So then we can do the whole capture burn and the inclination change all at the same time. There we go. With this one, we'll catch up with it in an orbit. Add alarm. Okay. We're going to swoop in over Minmus. Whee! Coming in, and now we can see it as the ambient light pops on. Here we are. And that big chunk of Delta V is suddenly not looking so big anymore. I hope we have enough Delta V to get home. This craft continually seems to be underbuilt. I wish I'd gotten that fuel that I didn't go back for when I forgot to get the fuel, but we might have to send yet more fuel out to Minmus. Okay, now we have to switch back to that probe. Where'd it go? Sine wave 2. Switch to sine wave 2. Would we already pass our apoapse? That's fine. Let's just circularize it. There we go. And now the multispectral scanner should be at an ideal altitude, except the surface is not in daylight, but that's fine. Let's rotate so that our antenna, our solar panels will always get sunlight. Good. Back to the space station. I'm realizing we probably will be okay with Delta V, because by the time we're coming back, all these supply containers will be mostly empty. So that should help with our Delta V concerns about returning to Kerbin. Closest approach in 2 minutes. Just gonna time accelerate until we're like 30 seconds away. Whoops, I killed all our velocity very quickly. Alright, come about. Control from here. I always like when you can see the shadow that the spacecraft is casting on the space station as it comes in. I think that's cool. I know I worry about it being boring in the recording, but like it's not boring to do, if that makes any sense. Like, it's maybe tedious when you have to do a lot of dockings one after the other. But it's always just like, wow, I'm getting to play Kerbal Space Program. All the mods are working. This is amazing. It's always a very, like, exciting experience. Here we are. Alright. Jebediah. Transfer into the cupola. Gwendis. No, not your inventory. Transfer. Gwendis. Transfer into the lab. And Hadami. Transfer into the lab. Let's level up the Kerbals. There it is, level up crew. Jebediah has become a level 2 pilot. That's good. And Gwendis and Hadami will get leveled up, I think, when they come back from Minmus, when they eventually land and return. Although we are a little short on fuel to do a landing, but I will fiddle with that another time, I think. We're not going to do another Minmus landing right now. I feel like I've just did one. Let's make sure that our life support situations are working well. 210 days of life support, now that we're docked with the space station that has the converter. And 274 days of habitation. So let's set a 190 day alarm. The other thing we can do is start research again. Start our research. We're going to be doing 9 science per day until we level them up, which is pretty good. We have very little science to start out with. And we should be able to put something worth 90 data. No, that's too big. 75 data, that should go in. Good. That's too big. Won't fit, won't fit, won't fit, won't fit. Won't fit. Won't fit. None of these will fit. Just keep all of these. Keep all of these. Keep. Cool. Yeah, almost 10 science a day. Fantastic. Good job, everybody. Well, I think we'll call it a day there. That was transferring crew out to Minmus, and we'll probably land on Minmus at least one more time next time and maybe figure out how to get more fuel out there. But again, that'll be next time. Thank you very much for joining, and goodbye. Addendum. I found the debris that we were looking at. It's a little probe core that survived one of the crashes at some point. So, somehow, our aircraft was able to detect the signal weakly being put out by this otherwise abandoned probe core. So we'll recover it and get a tiny bit of money back. An insignificant amount of money back. Anyway, see you next time. Bye-bye.